so I'll tell you a little bit of a history because we are doing a bit of a gin and tonic thing today. So I'll catch you up to speed on a brief history of the gin and tonic. Now, the gin and tonic started actually as medicine. So the gin and tonic actually came about in the early 1800s when troops in British colonial India were given a daily ration of anti-malaria medicine named tonic water. And the bitterness that you find in tonic water comes from the bark of the cinchona tree, and it contains quinine. So that's where that lovely Moorish bitterness comes from if you are a bit of a tonic fan. Now, the troops didn't like this bitter medicine so much, but lucky enough, they were given a daily ration of gin. And gin in the early 1800s was more akin to a sweeter style of gin, known as an old Tom's style. So quite heavy in licorice root. And so what these ingenious troops used to do was put their sweet gin into their bitter tonic to make the tonic more palatable. And it's a bit of a slippery slope because it quickly became the quintessential drink of the English Empire. And look at us go, we're celebrating that today, hundreds of years later. So I think that's just fabulous. And so if you ever see Indian tonic on a label of tonic water, firstly, hopefully it's Fever-Tree, but that's paying homage to that medicine. So it's always going to be a more bitter style. Now, we don't have that one in the pack today, but I will go through the tonics in just a moment. I'll tell you a bit of a history of Fever-Tree and why Fever-Tree is the world's best mixer. So it started in the early 2000s by two English lads. Now, these two English chaps, one worked in the coffee and tea trade, and the other worked for Plymouth Gin. If you're unfamiliar with Plymouth, First Gin for Export has a long, rich history, and it's a delightful gin. Now, Tim, working in coffee and tea, he thought, I want to make a gin, and I want to do fair trade, and I want to go to the ends of the earth to get the best botanicals to put in my gin, right? And, you know, he's talking to Charles, this wizard from Plymouth, and they're sitting down in a pub romantically. I hope they're having a gin and tonic, but they're probably having a pint of lager, being two English chaps. And, you know, they're discussing all these beautiful botanicals that they're going to put in their gin. And Charles says, well, if 3/4 of your drink is the mixer, what are we going to mix this amazing gin with? So they actually decided to make the world's best mixer instead. And so I love this mixer because I'm a huge gin fan, and I love that Fever-Tree is built like you would a gin, by thinking really carefully about your botanicals, making sure that they are of very good quality and making sure they're in good proportions. And so that's kind of the brief history of Fever-Tree. Now, to get onto the tonics that you're going to be imbibing tonight. So one of them is the Naturally Light Tonic. I believe that was one that Noosa Heads had requested to pair with their gin. So if you are feeling a bit thirsty and you want to skip ahead and have one of those, by all means, drink away. Now, the Naturally Light Tonic is based off that Indian tonic. So we use the world's best quinine, which comes from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We also use Mexican bitter oranges as well. So it's quite zesty. But in the Naturally Light Tonic, we use fruit sugar, so fructose, because it gives you a false sense of sweetness. Now, the reason why is when you have sugar, I always say it's good on your lips, not on your hips. Kind of hits your palate, it carries lovely flavors, lovely botanicals, adds texture, and it finishes lovely. However, you know, summer is coming around the corner at some point, so I'm drinking quite a lot of the Naturally Light at the moment because it has about 40% fewer calories. And what fructose does on your palate is it hits your palate, spikes to give you a false sense of sweetness, and then tapers off really quickly. So it is a little bit lighter because of that, but it should really sort of be delicate enough to really let the botanicals in the Noosa Heads Distillery gin shine. But I recommend, you know, if you want to mix and match with your tonics and your gins tonight, you should, because like I always say, whether you like it or you don't, you're right, because you're you, and there's no two people alike. So that's the first tonic. Now, the second one is the Fever-Tree Mediterranean. Now, the Fever-Tree Mediterranean is my all-time favorite tonic. Now, it's about half the amount of that quinine that you expect in the Indian tonic or the Naturally Light Tonic. So this will let the botanicals shine even more so, I would say. A lot more delicate. We also use some herbaceous botanicals like lemon thyme and rosemary in there. And this is absolutely like the top choice for Australian distillers because we have such an array of interesting botanicals and it doesn't overshadow it, which is fantastic. So I highly recommend that one with the Sunshine and Suns. But again, I would recommend trying a few little gin and tonics tonight to see what you think. Then we have the aromatic tonic. Now, the aromatic tonic is really fun. So that's the little pink number. Now, another quick story is, you know, bitters. I'm sure you've all heard of Angostura bitters before. Now, these were actually a medicine as well originally. They were given to navalmen to quell seasickness, so an anti-nausea medicine. So what Angostura does is very spicy, you know, makes you less sick on board your wall receptacles. And so what we did was we kind of paid homage to that, to the pink gin. And what they used to do was they used to put their bitters into their navy strength gin, higher in ABV, and a little bit of tonic because there was an anti-malaria medicine, and the pink gin and tonic was born. And so we don't use Angostura bitters. We use pimento, Angostura bark, Madagascan vanilla, ginger, and green cardamom. So to me, it is akin to a lemon lime bitters in flavour. So it is not sweet and fruity like you think on first glance. And I believe, Josh, there's the elderflower tonic in there as well in the pack. Did you?
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Wonderful. And so this one's great. So the aromatic tonic with Pomona gin, I think because it's a really warming, wintry flavour, and Pomona has this beautiful spice backbone, I think it pairs harmoniously. But again, please mix and match your tonics tonight. Now, the elderflower one is absolutely divine. This is springtime in a bottle. Essentially, elderflowers are really hard to grow. They grow on the English countryside, and they are just really fragrant and really floral, but they're precarious. Once you pick them, they start to wilt straight away, and they have this really terrible vegetal flavour if you don't look after them properly. So we pick them and press them in one day to retain the flavour of an English garden all year round. And I've actually had this one with the Sunshine and Sons gin in my experimenting, and that was absolutely divine. So I highly recommend you try that tonight as well. And I'm going to stop boring you so we can get on to the gin part, which I'm keen to hear about. So did anybody have any questions before I pass over back to Josh?
And what I might just add off the back of that too, if you do have questions, please use the chat room there. That's a great way for you to ask questions when they spring to mind. I'll be able to monitor those questions and then feed those through to the distillers or to Trish and get you some answers at the same time. So if you do have questions, please jot them in there and we'll make sure we get some answers or make something up really interesting. But yeah, look, thanks Trish. I'll totally agree. So I was saying to Jack earlier, that Mediterranean, I just drink that, you know, to rehydrate. I really enjoy that as a standalone drink now. So that's become a favorite for me. But yeah, thanks very much, Trish. George, we're going to throw to you because you're first up. From Pomona, do you want to just unmute yourself, or I'm up there? You're good to go. Hey, welcome, mate. Nice to have you on board.
Thanks for having me. Sorry for my tardiness. I know I was a bit late, running a bit late there.
All good, mate. All good. So we might kick off and just get a drink into your glass. So do you want to should these guys just pour a nice little neat pour of that or over some ice to get started?
Yeah, definitely. As you're pouring it, I guess you'll straight off the bat, it's definitely a citrus forward on the nose, get a lot of orange, almost orange blossom, orange oils on there. And as you taste it, if you try it neat as well, you get a bit of quite a bit of cardamom in there as well. So let everyone have a go at that. But yeah, just a bit of a background on Pomona. I've just recently joined the team as well. So started in 2019. Master distiller currently is Robin and owner. So he started back in 2019. He has a background in food science. So just loved pairing flavors together. And obviously was really interested in the distilling side of things, which he's managed to now do with his family on board as well. So definitely, I think they've lived in Pomona now for about 20 years. So just Pomona, meaning the goddess of abundance. So they're just really big on getting all those local produce in. And we look forward to, I guess, reaching out and working with local produce in the future as well. So I'm working closely under Robin. So look forward to, and I have 7 years in cocktail making. So we look forward to playing around with a lot of flavors with those guys as well. Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, some of you might not be familiar with Pomona or even where Pomona is, but it's on the northern part of the Sunshine Coast, north of Noosa. It's a great little country town, and the venue itself is something special. I mean, it's a rustic place, lots of timber. It's absolutely amazing, and we've been taking people there on tours the last few weeks, and it has been packed. It's been really well received. It's just a super cool venue, so they've done a great job at setting it up. In the last year or so, and you guys have got a couple of gins in your lineup now too.
Yeah, so at the moment we're also doing a butterfly pea gin and a pink gin as well, and we're looking at releasing a few liqueurs hopefully by the end of the year. But yeah, they're going really well. So at the moment we're selling online and through the distillery, through the cellar door, and bottles are retailing for about $69 at the moment. So yeah, really competitive price there as well, and
Yeah,
delicious. There, yeah, keen to try them. And if no one's had the butterfly pea flowered gins before, obviously it's pH sensitive, so it looks the part as well. It's stunning. It's truly stunning.
Cool. All right, so which garnish? I think we might have gone the lime garnish perhaps with you guys. Oh no, the orange garnish.
Go for the orange. I prefer, especially with the fever tree. My preference, I love bitter things, so I enjoy going with the Indian tonic for that, just like that marriage of the dry bitter orange. For me, that's my personal favorite. But yeah, as you say, everyone's different.
We might crack a bit of that in there too, yeah.
I've left my bottle downstairs, so I was like,
You are at work too.
Yeah.
So I've been taking quite a few tours up to Pomona, and as a tour driver, obviously I can't be drinking, so I haven't had too many opportunities to try your gin. So it is actually nice to now sit down and enjoy it, as opposed to watch other people drink it. Cool. So what sort of future? What's coming up with Pomona Distilling, or what's your role going to be in the future with them?
So we're just waiting on a wholesale license to come through. And then things will definitely ramp up very quickly. So we'll be getting a lot of master classes, trying to team up. So, and kind of a blend your own experience. So we'll be trying to do some blend your own master classes where people will be able to come in and kind of blend their own gins depending on what botanicals they like. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And taking more on of the bulk of the distilling work, I guess, and so ease it off Robin a bit, because he's got his work cut out for him over the next few weeks. And then, looking forward to releasing some liqueurs and a potential new sites as well here down in Brisbane. So looking into doing that as well.
Cool. Any questions for George? I think I can see a comment there saying great venue. So obviously you guys have been up there. Oh, that's Mick and Agneta. You guys obviously been up there. Yeah, it's something special. We do have three pretty unique venues currently. So we do have the three distillers on the Sunshine Coast, with a fourth one on its way. But yeah, they're all quite unique in their setup. You can probably see Adam's scrolling background of Sunshine and Sons, what their still looks like and their setup, which is pretty cool. What sort of grain base do you prefer? We've got a question from Rupert. Now, Rupert's a local brewer too, so his question is, what kind of grain base do you prefer? Which could be a question to all of you guys, but George?
Yeah, I just like using just a corn base. That's my personal preference. But yeah, at the moment, we're definitely still open to experimentation as well. But yeah, really enjoying playing around with that at the moment.
Okay, cool. What about you other guys as far as grain base? What's your preference? Jack, Adam?
Look, it depends on the gin, mate.
Go on, Jack, if you like.
It depends on the gin. A lot of base spirits will give a lot of different things to the spirit. You can make a neutral spirit out of almost anything, anything from beetroots to potatoes or cane or honey. It really depends on the spirit and the way you want to tie the actual spirit into the gin to really give it. If you wanted to add extra floral notes from the alcohol itself, I'd really recommend using honey. But if you wanted that natural sort of blank canvas, then to go with almost like a wheat base or a grain base.
Yeah, cool. Adam, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, being also a winemaker, I choose grape base. I just find it just gives a lot more texture and structure and allows the botanicals to shine, and ultimately you just don't need a garnish. Yeah, that's sort of what we've sort of played around with. So it's definitely great for me.
Yeah, cool. We've got some great collaboration here on the coast, and I know Rupert's probably asking that question too and seeing what that might mean or how there might be a way to work together with local brewers. So we'll get onto that a little bit more down the track. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of crossover between the local distillers and the local brewers as far as what they can and can't do together. So, all right, if there's not any other questions, we might just move along to Jack. Oh no, Adam. I've had Adam next. Adam. Mate, can you tell us a bit about Sunshine and Sons and your background? You alluded to the winemaking, but you've got a pretty interesting skill set and background as well. Can you tell us a bit more about you guys and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, I've had quite an interesting background. I've had 33 years of winemaking and last couple of years in distilling, but also the last 6 years in education side of things for wines and spirits. And yeah, I come out of the Institute of Brewing and Distilling, and of course I had the chance to set up from scratch, as you sort of see the shaky video behind me. But that's I was a chance to design 2 stills, set up the whole distillery, and make the produce from day one. So it's quite an exciting setup, and we're just sort of west of the Big Pineapple.
And how big is that setup there, mate? What are we looking at?
Yeah, the wash still there behind me pretty much now is 6,000 litres. The spirit still is just past, it's 2,500. And we sort of running at the moment between 3 and 4 distillations. We're pretty much set up as a rum distillery, and we do gin and vodka. So any sort of expanding product will be certainly down in rum country. Yeah.
And you do have quite an impressive barrel room, which I think you said you might have had another backdrop to show people, but I have been out there and seen the barrel program, and it's, yeah, it's something to behold. Great to see you guys doing that. And I know Noosa Heads are also doing stuff with barrels, so that's obviously quite interesting as well. Mate, do you want to tell us a little bit about the gin we've got here today in the Sunshine and Sons bottle?
Yeah, look, again, probably like most distillers, you just sort of do your head in, with thousands of options of botanicals. Obviously, the bases are important, the distillation, the technique, and the approach, and the still. But yeah, as I said, we chose Great Spirit, and then we sort of just looked at a triangle, and we wanted to try and achieve the fulfillment of either excessive or under amount of each botanical. And we did numerous, thousands and thousands of distillation trials through our little 20-litre still that most distillers obviously start off. And we just got to the stage where we wanted to make a traditional London dry, which is obviously strong juniper based. Then we have coriander seed and cinnamon bark is the base layer, I call it. And then at the top layer, we have the lavender, pomegranate, and pepperberry and pink rose petals. And they're sort of the scent characters. And we use a fixative of the orris root that actually binds all those together, and then finish it off with a touch of lemon peel. And at the end of the day, we tried with, we find it fits with a lot of different tonics. And the thing is, we just don't want, a bit different. We just don't want to see people adding a garnish. I threw a bit of science to it, and you want to hear that. But yeah, we out of one distillation, we'll make about 1,400 garnish it at 3 or 4 grams. That turns out to be adding like 250 kilos of lime or lemon in the pot, which ultimately would just wreck the gin.
So you recommend just neat on a little bit of ice to start?
Yeah, I don't like crushed ice. I just like the big, tennis ball ice if you can get it. The big block ice. I like 1/3, 2/3 gin. I'm finding that people sort of like to sort of sip it if it's a little bit stronger. And if they want garnish, that's fine. Go and buy someone else's gin. It's yeah. What have you got? A question there?
Actually, it's a question back to George we might have missed too. What were the botanicals in the Pomona gin, George?
Oh, okay.
So Or I might. Can you hear me? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, at the moment, just classic. We've gone the traditional London dry style. So we use orris root, cinnamon, cardamom, lemon peel, obviously heavy juniper, and coriander seed. So 6 botanicals at the moment. And just go for that really dry, and then looking to release a more premium one later in the year as well, maybe at a higher ABV. So.
Okay, thank you. So Trish, what did you recommend with this Sunshine and Sons? If we were going to put a mixer in there, what would you recommend people have a little splash with, or what are the flavour profiles you would like to sort of pull out of that or match with the Fever Tree mixer?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I'm a huge fan of a martini myself, so I really do like cold gin, but I also know that's not for everyone's palate. And so if I was going to suggest a couple from the range that we have today, I actually think this is quite a versatile gin, personally. I think it goes well with definitely the Mediterranean tonic water. I also love it with the elderflower. If you do want something a little bit richer, a little bit more springtime, a little bit more leaning towards a cocktail style of a gin and tonic, I mean, I can certainly see that with a couple of strawberries in there and some mint or something like that in a wine glass, sitting outside in the sun would be absolutely divine for me. I love it with the Mediterranean tonic. I think that the floral aspect in the gin is quite lovely, and you could have that one with, just a little bit of herbs if you wanted to jazz it up as well. So I think that's lovely, but it would also go with the naturally light tonic. And I think you'd really pull different botanicals out of that gin by adding different tonics. So I think this gin is actually quite versatile myself. But yeah, I reckon if you got some tonic left, try a little bit of each and see what your favorite is. And I'd love to hear from you. So comment. So if you guys are going to taste a few different ones, tell us your favorite, because I would love to know.
Yeah, tell us what you guys are mixing it with now, and what your thoughts on how well it matches or how well it pairs with something else. We'd love to hear from you guys. Got a question from Sam. Do you guys do anything with the leftover citrus? I guess that might be to you, Adam.
No, I hardly use any citrus at all, only just lemon peel. So, nothing.
The CCTV room.
I can't see it on the
Which garnish do we use with Sunshine and Sons? So, look, I did ask the distillers if they had a preferred one, and I think we might have gone with the lime. But look, I think that one's a little bit of personal preference. And again, I know Jack mentioned the grapefruit perhaps with his, so maybe save the grapefruit for the last gin. But by all means, experiment with the lime in there, or crack open that cracking little finger lime and get some real zesty lime in there, which is pretty cool. I'm going to give that a little tweak right now. Someone said there they quite liked it neat, but also with a little bit of elderflower, which is what I'm going to try it out too. Awesome. All right. Any other questions for Adam in regards to Sunshine and Sons? Maybe just tell them when you're open and what the deal is for coming to visit you guys, or even finding your gin. I know it's started to get a bigger reach now. But yeah, maybe just give them a bit more of an idea on where to find you.
Yeah, we're situated about 500 metres to the west of the actual Big Pineapple, where the distillery is. We're open pretty much Monday to Friday, distilling, and we're also open mainly for sales on Saturday, closed Sunday at this stage until we get our deck set up for about 150 people. So that's coming, and it's just a fantastic spot looking in the tropical rainforest, and it's just a very, very quiet place, but pretty much in the centre of the Sunshine Coast. Distribution wise, we're in about 26 Dan Murphys from Gold Coast to Cairns, and about 64 BWSs now with the products, and that's mainly focusing on Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, and all the major cities up the coast, right up to Cairns. So we've been very lucky there.
Yeah, great. For those that aren't super familiar with the Sunny Coast or location, so maybe 15 minutes west of the beach at Maroochydore, or Mooloolaba. So yeah, pretty central and very accessible. And the Big Pineapple's starting to really become a hub again for local producers. So you guys have a pop-up bar with, you know, a local ginger beer and a local cider guy at the same time. So it's becoming quite a cool place to hang out on a Saturday. But definitely looking forward to the deck being out the back there, because I think that'll be a real game changer.
Yeah, I think we've had a few local fishermen that want to come up and either, you know, just bring their prawns straight off the trawler or some oysters and sit there and have some Bloody Mary shots with our vodka. So yeah, who knows? They might try and create some sort of martini food for us. Yeah, that'd be good.
That sounds good to me. Okay, Sunshine and Stars, lots of layers. Need over some fat ice. Great idea. Those guys are big gin fans, I know. Mick and Agneta. Why can't we see your video, Mick and Agneta? What are you guys up to? Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Look, if you think of questions for these guys as we move through the other distillers, you're more than welcome to just pop them up, and we'll cut them back in, depending how long they can stick around. But thanks, Adam. All right, so up to Jack next at Noosa Heads Distillery. So Jack's the head distiller there. These guys were the first distillery opened on the sunny coast. They do have a pretty amazing venue as well. I might see if I can find a picture to share with you guys of the still, but it's an amazing venue that also houses a brewery under the same roof. So I'll let Jack tell you a little bit more about that and his background and what those guys have been doing at Noosa Heads before we get stuck into that last year.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, look, we've been around here for a little while now. We opened we put in the distillery at the end of 2018 and started production on Christmas Eve that year. So we did our first run of Signature Dry Gin, which is the gin you have in front of you. And you know, we make quite a big range of different spirits, from single malt whiskies to innovative, never seen before whiskies, a big range of gins, vodka, and we're also about to start our rum production as well. So exciting times. The Signature Dry was our first product. Like Adam was saying, we trialed a lot of different gins before we came to the conclusion that this was the one. I made an absolutely horrible gin one day, and I'll attest to that. And stormed around and cracked a tantrum, and tripped over a bag of green tea that was scented with honeydew melon. And it was the sort of turning point that we really wanted to bring forth this beautiful fruit from far north Queensland. So honeydew melon became the forefront of our product, and the green tea matched so well with it that it was scenting it with that nice earthiness to sort of balance the fruitiness of the honeydew. Beautiful coriander seeds, cassia bark, and obviously juniper berries create that really nice base to mask that or counteract that fruitiness. And then we have a little bit of lemon peel and lemongrass just to balance it out as well. So we're going for a really well balanced gin. Still considered a London Dry, but we wanted it to be sort of teetering the edge of contemporary and London Dry. So a little bit more fruitful, a little bit more floral, and a big handful of lavender in there as well. What do we think, guys?
Yeah, it's nice, mate. Well done.
Thank you. So like Josh was saying, we're also a brewery housed under the same roof. So Land and Sea Brewery came first, and then the second child, Noosa Heads Distillery, was born. Obviously, there's that big sibling rivalry going on, and it sort of pushes us to do things that we usually wouldn't. So, for example, we on Thursday we emptied our first cask. So our Navy Strength gin had been in an ex-Shiraz cask for the last 6 months, and then before I got the gin out of the barrel, Shane, the head brewer, basically pushed in, and he's put a beer in it straight away. So the harmonious relationship between brewery and distillery sort of builds and builds and builds, and there's, you know, it's limitless into the different products that we can release together. So
What how many other gins or what else have you released? I mean, if I didn't mention the Some Young Guys collaboration, I think that'd be a missed opportunity, because not only is it unique, but those guys obviously have such a really big profile, not just on the Sunshine Coast, but around the country as well. So that one's a little bit left field, but I'd love you to tell these guys what that one was all about.
yeah, for sure. So Some Young Guys gin came along. In a past life, I was a chef. Still am a chef. I'm cooking today, actually. But I came up alongside the Some Young Guys boys before they were, you know, rich and famous, and the gin collab was pretty much inevitable. You know, these people taught me how to cook, and so yeah, we just back and forth, and they came to us with the idea of creating a gin that was Some Young Guys. So it was a Thai Vietnamese style gin, and we sort of scratched our heads for weeks and weeks, and we really didn't know what that meant. And so we countered with the idea of a faux gin. So faux or pho, Vietnamese soup. So quite a radical spin on a gin, I suppose. Really, really savory. We wanted that punchy sort of aromatic broth with that light herb balance. And we did that with fish sauce, smoked soy sauce, and porcini mushrooms. And that really gave that savory-esque character to it. And then on the nose, you get a lot of that savoriness, but on the palate, it drops straight away, and it's just this light Asian herb sort of salad on the top that really finishes the spirit. It's definitely a strange one without question. It's definitely not for everyone, but it is, in my opinion, quite a strange, versatile gin that can be led to more used in sort of cocktails and drinks that teeter more towards rums or tequilas, even moonshine style. It's super savory, much like you would think, a super spicy mezcal or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it's a pretty unusual one. Trish, I saw you making some strange faces there. Is that getting a little bit unusual from gin perspective, from, you know, what you've tasted or what you've seen in the market? I mean, I know there's lots of people pushing the boundaries, but
no, I think that's so interesting. Like, for me, if you can taste the juniper, I mean, the fun thing about New World gin is that anything basically goes. You know, as long as the juniper is discernible, for me, I'm all good with the rest. I love that idea. I mean, I come from a bartending background, and I was bartending for 14 years. My parents are so proud of me. But I used to love experimenting with flavors too, and I've made some terrible gins in my life. So, you know, stick to talking about booze, I reckon, is the right way for me. But I love that. That's so intriguing. I just love the creativity that you can have with gin. And I just love hearing about stuff like that, especially from chefs, because chefs have these crazy palates, but it seems to just work. So I need to try that. Next tasting, guys. We'll bring that one in, hey?
well, that's what I thought we'd do. I thought, you know, today is really an introduction to these distilleries. So what better way to do that than with their signature or their sort of their main brand. So I thought it'd be a nice way for us to introduce people, but the follow-up should definitely be some of these different takes you guys have done and something you've done a little bit different. Obviously Pomona, we could use the butterfly pea perhaps in round 2. We could try to get some of that Some Young Guys in a pack. I mean, that would just be, you know, next level experimental gin tasting. And I think that's kind of cool to show the creativity that you guys have as well. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And you also had, what was the other collaboration you guys did, Jack, with a local artist as well?
Yeah, so we launched our Navy Strength gin with in a collaboration with an artist called Peter Phillips. Don't know if any of you have ever heard of him, but he's a world-renowned pop artist. Painting is not music. He comes from Birmingham in the UK and sort of came up alongside Andy Warhol, really good friends with him, and basically traveled around grabbing inspiration from different places around the world before he finally sought Noosa to be his home. So in light of his 60th year in the art industry and 80th year on the planet, we did a collaboration piece of 600 bottles of this Navy strength gin. So we also took inspiration from places that Peter had lived, botanicals from certain regions, and in the same light that the East India Trading Company did, or the Royal Navy took spices from around the world and sort of made them work. Loads of finger lime, pink pepper, black pepper, mustard seeds, Sicilian olives, ginger. It's quite spicy. It's a 57% gin, so it's ballsy, and it has to have that spice and those floral notes to get back to it as well. So as dangerous as it sounds, it's very, very easy to drink. Yeah.
And super cool labels, yeah. Do you have any of that left though, or is that already gone?
No, it's all sold out, unfortunately. We actually just released our Navy strength as well, which is the same gin, but we don't have the patches on them anymore. We've got these gorgeous blue ones.
You guys actually have some pretty cool branding. You obviously won't see that on the.
I do have a bottle.
You've got one there? Yeah, Jack should probably pop that up. I'll just look at a couple of questions we might have had there too. We can jump to.
That's the bottle, guys.
Oh yeah, how cool! So that patch on the front, peels off and can be stuck on. It's really cool. Nice. So Jack, the question there from Billy Bob is, where can we buy that from? So I'm assuming, Billy, you mean this the gin we're tasting tonight?
Yeah, so you can get the Signature Dry in, I think, every BWS store from Harvey Bay down to the Gold Coast, and selected Dan Murphy's. We also sell online and through our cellar door as well, and bars and restaurants from Harvey Bay down to Gold Coast as well. And we've just started shipping out to Melbourne. We're in quite a few bars down there as well.
Cool. I'm actually rethinking that question might have also been about the Some Young Guys collab, but is that available online through your store?
Some Young Guys can get online, yeah, for sure, or through the cellar door. Or you can go to Some Young Guys and try it yourself. And make some mean cocktails with it. Where else can you get Some Young Guys? It's not in any of the large liquor chains, unfortunately. As strange and as radical as it is, I don't think everyone's prone to buying it, so that's all right.
Cool. So look, if you're not local, then you need to come up here and try it. That's the real message right there. Another question for probably any of the distillers, from Rupert, saying, what are your thoughts on flavour infusions between steeping and hot vapor distillation?
So we did a limited release last winter. It was a peppered strawberry gin. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but it was our Navy strength again. Being quite versatile, we steeped 200 kilos of fresh cut strawberries for 6 weeks, and loved the flavour it came out. There's a heaping handful of pink pepper and black pepper as well. Cut the sweetness of the strawberries with a beautiful bit of spice. Love compound gins, particularly ones that are using those Australian botanicals. Brookies do a beautiful slow. It's fantastic. It's beautiful tannic style gin that holds itself quite well. Vapor infusion, we only vapor infuse quite a small portion of our gins. We use that as a layering technique or a textural technique. So something I want it to finish on, or sort of where that botanical is placed through our distillation for our Noosa gin, our well pour style gin. We vapor infused Valencian oranges, sugarcane, and green mangoes. So we wanted that sort of almost faux tartness to come through from the green mangoes, the sweetness of the sugarcane, and the beautiful orange oils as well to come through.
Cool. Thank you, Jack. What about you other two guys? Any other thoughts on that question as far as what you guys do, or just your thoughts in general?
Yeah, well, basically what we do with our gin at the moment is all the botanicals in the bottom of the pot and no steeping, and basically do a distillation of about 7 hours through that still, the spirit still. We've also got a defleglimator, which if you look fairly close to it there, it's a cooling strap around the neck to actually slow the distillation down to make the cuts a lot defined and really sort of make what we want when we want of the distillation. I've also done on both pots, not sure if you can see it on the top there of the line arm, but we've got a removable basket that we can take off the pots. I've got one on the wash still as well, and one on this one. And
we might have lost you a little bit there, Adam. Yeah, I think we might have lost you just quickly, Adam. I know you're out in Stanthorpe and have tried to find a good spot, but we might just have to, yeah, definitely have frozen. But you've got a great backdrop, so that's all that matters. George, I don't know if you had anything else to add to that, what you guys do, or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess just a lot of what we're doing predominantly at the moment is vapor infusion, but we are tinkering a lot with a lot of steeping, especially coming around to working on liqueurs as well. But yeah, I guess for those more delicate flavors, I do prefer just doing vapor infusions and things, and need a bit more time steeping. Yeah. Yeah. Working on a few bits.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Just back to a couple of the questions. Do all the distillers deliver interstate? Can you just give us a thumbs up if you deliver interstate? 2 thumbs up. Excellent. Thumbs up. Nice. What else have we got there? Actually, the person who asked that says, we need this gin down here to get us through lockdown. I feel your pain. We need to get gin down to Victoria and anywhere else that's locked down. Hopefully not Queensland now, the way it's looking. But yeah, look, definitely jump online if you want to order that stuff. Those guys, I'm sure, will get it down to you. In fact, Adam, I don't know if you're unfrozen, but I know you guys were doing some sort of deal to Melbourne, maybe. Was there like a delivery free or a...
yeah,
made that up?
Am I back?
You're back.
I'm sitting outside here. I know I've got the screen on there, but I'm sitting outside here, and it's got to be close to 1 or 2 degrees at the moment. Anyway, yeah, no, we try to look after Melbourne people. So anyone with a postcode starting in 3, we're offering $15 off every bottle, and also free delivery to help out with those poor people in COVID Melbourne.
Legends,
Yeah.
Well done. So yeah, definitely you can buy that online. Definitely they deliver interstate. Someone else has asked, how do we do a gin tour on the sunny coast? Well, hey, you need to contact Creative Tours. That's us. We can run a private tour for you to take you to distilleries, or you can join one of our existing tours, which does include some of these local distillers. So we can definitely help you with that. What else we've got? Speaking of testing out new brands, the Night Quarter in Virginia is opening up a Golden Gate style taste station, which would be cool. Who's that from? Agneta and Nick. Are you got any of you guys involved with Night Quarter, the new venue on the Sunshine Coast?
Me? Or who?
That's a no. Are you saying, Agneta, are you guys asking whether these should be at the venue? Because it's going to be a great live outdoor venue, a bit like what was on the Gold Coast that's now opened here on the Sunshine Coast. So a little gin tasting station would be pretty cool there, I agree. Yeah, or even just making sure you're in the bars there. So, I mean, it's great. What I've seen locally here is local bars and even hotels have started to incorporate local gin, which I think is great. I mean, local beer here has been pushing along and knocking some doors down, but the fact you guys are so new as distillers, but have been so welcomed is a really good sign. So yeah, hopefully venues like Night Quarter will also take you guys on board too. Yeah.
I love Sam Q's background.
Whose background? Sam.
Sam, oh, yeah, this is why he's drinking gin at the beach.
There are some very good backgrounds, and I am going to choose the best background to send a little pack of local goodies to. So I'll work that at the end and send it. But yeah, Sam, you're looking pretty chilled at the beach there, mate.
That is so funny.
All right, so where are we up to? How are we going with that last gin there? What did you guys mix it with, and what did you chuck in as a garnish? And what are your thoughts? And has anyone cracked open a finger lime yet?
Yeah, I do like the gin. I tried it with the Mediterranean and the tonic, individual Mediterranean, the Indian tonic and the Mediterranean, and I think I do prefer it with the Mediterranean. Yeah, okay. With Jack's.
What sort of cocktails would you guys recommend with your gins? If you were going to put forward one cocktail, what would you choose for this? Jack, maybe kick us off first.
With the signature dry?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously up in Noosa, it's pretty good weather most of the time. We generally sort of tend to lean towards things like a really light and refreshing Tom Collins, or a Negroni, or something that sort of fits the day. Cold winter's day, we want a nice Negroni or an old fashioned to sort of sit by the fire, and then that light, refreshing sweetness during summer.
Awesome. George, what about you, mate? What would you recommend with you guys? Or what have you been serving? Obviously in the bar too. I'm assuming where you guys are tonight, you'd have some of that gin, or even at the venue. I know the signature cocktails you guys serve are a bit of it there, but what would you prefer with your
perfect serves fly off the shelf? But yeah, I guess in terms of more complex cocktails, things like Negronis, again with those notes of orange, definitely complement a Negroni perfectly. Or even for something fresher, being on the sunny coast, something like a gin fizz is absolutely delicious with a Pomona dry style gin. So yeah, a bit of soda water, egg whites, lemon sugar, and yeah, the gin, it's beautiful.
Now, Adam, I know your gin, you like it nice and neat, and it does shine on its own, but you got to give me something here. What would you see it in? If you were going to share its flavours with something else, what sort of cocktail or mixed drink would you like to see it in?
Oh, a dirty martini with a bit of Sunshine Coast seawater in it, mate. That'd be great.
I don't mind a dirty martini, but I don't know about the seawater. But yeah, why not? Let's
instead of some olive brine, just a touch of Marcula seawater there, and 2/3 gin and 1/3 Dole and French dry vermouth.
I really hope we see that at the venue when you have the deck built. I want to see that on the list for sure.
Yeah, righto. I'll see if I can get my way.
Filthy martini, yeah?
What's that?
We call that the filthy martini.
Well, someone said it's a Gibson, but I don't know, mate. I've given up. I just call it my martini now. So.
Good to see people trying some different mixes there. We've got the Pomona mixed with the elderflower. I mean, I love the different combinations. You can really play around with it and find what your flavour or what your preference is. And they all offer something a little bit different with each gin. So I've definitely enjoyed mixing it up a little bit and playing around with it. And the finger limes, I've been sort of chewing on them that just explode in your mouth with the gin, which is pretty cool. I know you can serve them in there like that, or you can muddle those to get that flavour through the drink. But to be honest, I quite like that little explosion of citrus from finger limes. It's pretty cool. Is fresh garnish better than dried? I was probably going to say yes, but I'd love to hear from Trish maybe, or the distillers on, you know, if you've got fresh fruit at home, what would you prefer, or what is better, if one is better?
I personally like fresh where possible, but you know, not always. And there's a couple of exceptions to the rules. So whenever I was using berries in, like, especially strawberries in a drink, I like them frozen better, because once you freeze something and thaw it, you break down the cellular walls, so you leach the juice out. So it depends. And I mean, you guys are in Queensland where you have the best strawberries all year round. It just doesn't actually make sense, you know, on a growing level. You guys just have this like wizardry up there, so you can get away with it. But I'm always like frozen strawberries down here. I really don't like dehydrated citrus that much, and because I'm quite sensitive to oxidization, I'm not a huge fan of it. It kind of tastes metallic to me, and once I notice that, I can't unsee it. But I think dried herbs are fine, and some seasonal fruit dried is good. For example, blood oranges have a very short season, but they can be dehydrated, and you can enjoy them for about 3 to 4 months afterwards. So, you know, if you really do love a drink with blood orange or orange, they dehydrate really well. So you can keep them for months. But if you can have fresh lime or fresh lemon, definitely fresh for me.
What about you guys, Jack? You guys, I mean, you keep plenty of fresh fruit at the bar, obviously, so fresh is usually best. And Trish, you're right, we have strawberries. We have a pretty awesome season here. We have like pick your own farms you can go down to and get a fresh punnet ready to go. But what about you guys? What are you serving up in the bar, or what do you think with fresh be dried?
Yeah, look, most of our signature serves are fresh. We like to complement rather than contrast, so we'll generally use garnish to match the gin. So for our signature dry, we'll always garnish with a wedge of honeydew melon, so it's that sit bite sort of sensual experience, I suppose. But then tending more towards our Some Young Guys, we actually serve our gin and tonics with dried porcini mushrooms. So really just to heighten that savouriness. But yeah, generally most of the time it's fresh.
So that garnish pack I'm going to do on round 2, I'll make sure I get some dried mushrooms in there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know, George, you guys out of Pomona have just sort of kicked off your tasting paddles there too. So what are you serving up as preferred garnishes, or what do you think they are with those 3 offerings you have?
At the moment, with tasting paddles, it is a lot of dried fruit, and we're doing packs where you will get it with dried fruit. But I think Trish nailed it as well. Summer, fresh is always best in my book, especially in the cocktail world. So yeah, do enjoy the fresh garnishes.
Yeah, cool. I'm just going to digress a little bit. We're looking at backgrounds here, and like Daryl has just like taken the cake. He's put our Creative Tours logo behind and book a tour with. I mean, you need some work for us, Daryl. I love what you've done there, mate. It is exceptional. So
I actually thought he did.
Surely the best background he's got written there as well. Legend. Love your work. Love your work. All right, a couple other questions. Finger limes. Finger limes are fantastic. Dried mushrooms sounds wild. It does sound wild. These finger limes are from a really cool farm here called Green Valley Finger Limes. So locally here on the sunny coast, we do grow some pretty amazing fruit. Climatically, it's set up to grow some amazing stuff here. So it's not just berries. So we've got strawberries and blueberries, but we've got finger limes. We've got macadamias growing here. You name it. So some pretty cool local produce. So part of the story here on the sunny coast, yeah, sure, we've got great beaches, but we actually do have a really booming local produce scene. And local distillers and local brewers are most definitely part of that, but local growers and farmers here are exceptional as well. So there's so many great opportunities to work with local produce or include that in the offerings or tastings or menus that these venues all have. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting place to be right now as local produce starts to be something people talk about and something people really think about a lot as well. So It is pretty exciting. But yeah, Daryl, you may have won tonight, mate. I just got a funny feeling you're going to win with that. As much as it's bribery, I love it. I do love it. Although Sam's been all over the world. He's been everywhere with his background too, so that's also been pretty cool. Rupert, you guys are still in the kitchen, but, you know, that's good. It's good to see. And Mo's, I don't know, Mo's Tavern's also very cool. So great, you guys went to a bit of an effort. And yeah, look, I hope you enjoyed what was in the pack. Adam's down at the beach, yep. Look, I hope you enjoyed what was in there. And like I said, this is really just an introduction to these local distillers, and they are all very new in the sense of things. They've kicked off very recently, but the Sunny Coast is really embracing it, and I can hear, I know some more rumours of a few more about to open. So great to have these guys on board to share a bit about their stories, and also have someone like Trish on board to talk about, you know, using quality mixes, because I think education with gin and how we drink gin, there's a lot to do in that space, and drinking gin with really crap mixes, a G&T is probably what most people's experience is. So it's nice to sort of break it down and hear from you guys about what really goes into this gin and the best way to enjoy it, whether it's using quality mixes or just drinking it nice and neat and appreciating those botanicals. So look, I really appreciate the guys coming on board and sharing their time and their stories, and also Trish for jumping on board, and all you guys. By all means, we're not shutting this down, but I just wanted to wrap that part up and then leave it open to you guys if you had some more questions. Yeah, I mean, you could probably almost unmute at this point. Let's make it an open conversation. If you want to unmute, say a few words, you're more than welcome. Or if you want to drop some questions in the box, that's more than fine. Adams, can you vote for Mo? Sam's actually voting for someone else. Legend. But yeah, look, I mean, Zoom has become part of what we have to do for events like this now, and it's nice to embrace it as opposed to think, oh damn, I've got another Zoom meeting. But yeah, it's a nice way to share what we've got here today and also get people online and keep people connected. And I probably neglected to even introduce Deb. So who's sitting next to me, who's my wife. She's usually on the other side of the camera helping out, mixing stuff and pouring stuff. But tonight I thought, you know, hey, why not sit in front and enjoy these gins together. But yeah, look, it's been fun. I really appreciate you guys joining in. And yeah, you've decided to join us with some video.
Hi. Yeah, we're here. Next here.
Hello, how are you?
But yeah, look, thanks guys. If you've got any other questions, by all means, drop us a line. There's one there from Daryl. Is there any other distillers in Australia that you see as an inspiration? So probably a question to you distillers or even Trish. Do you know any other distillers who are doing amazing things that inspire you?
There are too many to say. I mean, you know, there's about 300 producers in Australia making gin. So I think they're all really wonderful, and I think they're all very unique. So my suggestion would be to just try as many as you can.
We are.
That is so much fun. Try and find it, right?
What about you distillers? Any real inspiration from people who've been distilling locally or even internationally that's inspired you?
I guess the guys from down in Byron Bay, Brookies, and just working with Jim McEwen and things like that, and also Four Pillars, just releasing their olive leaf gin with olive oil and olive leaf. Just probably those two guys doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, Brookies is amazing. If you haven't been to Byron Bay and checked out their distillery, I highly recommend it. It's a really cool tour. You can walk around the farm. Most of their botanicals are actually grown on the farm, so you pick those as you walk around. Then you sit at the bar and taste their spirits, and it is an exceptional tour and a beautiful farm. So I highly recommend Brookies if you can get there. Yeah. Jack, what about you, mate? Any inspiration?
Oh yeah, mate. Everyone's doing a bang up job at the moment. Archie Rose, big time advocates for. Love their branding, love their products. Four Pillars, were instrumental into my career. So they take a massive, I take a massive leaf out of their book. They're honestly the biggest help that I'm probably the only reason why I'm distilling today, which is probably those two guys.
Right. And Adam, you mate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably in Australia it'd have to be Sullivan's Cove. I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and you know, a lot of the Tassie whiskey stuff, but certainly overseas side of things, obviously, you know, rum's a big thing for me. So I hell bent on Jamaican rum. So see what happens.
You guys have got lots of exciting stuff coming up, I know, because you're only quite new businesses, but you've got a great scope and a great vision for what you're doing next and continuing to grow. So I can't wait to see what happens with you. Look, for you guys that are online, by all means, we'll keep you posted because we are going to run another local event very soon. If you're in lockdown, I can't wait for you guys to be able to get out, but hopefully we can provide you something else to enjoy as well and put a bit of the Sunshine Coast in a box and get it down to you to experience. So when borders do open, you can come up here and experience it for yourself. So yeah, some pretty cool things happening here on the coast. So thanks for joining us. Tough decision with the backgrounds. I'm always a fan of, see, I'm torn now, Mo's Tavern or complete bribery with Creative Tours. I might have to split it.
That's a suck-up background. That's a suck-up background.
Or even Sam. All right, let's split it. Sam, Darren, and Lee have done an exceptional job. You're all going to get something in the post from us. A little local box of goodies from the sunny coast. But,
Thank you, Joe.
But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the gin. Hope you enjoyed some insight from our local legends and Trish. And yeah, hope to see you back online again soon, or letting us take you to experience and visit some of these distillers locally.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Oh,
what?
Hey?
I put the one button.
No, sorry, I don't know how to do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You guys want to hang around for a chat? Suze, where are you guys? So you were the only Melbourne pack, I think, that made it?
No, there you go.
No?
This was really cool. Thank you.
No worries, Sam. Whereabouts are you, Sam?
thank you.
North Lakes.
In North Lakes. Suze, whereabouts were you?
Cotton Tree.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
cool.
Oh, Cotton Tree, did you say?
Yeah, we haven't gone far.
Oh, okay, cool. And who else have we got? Nikki, are you local? Whereabouts are you?
Yeah, we're in Mountain Creek.
Mountain Creek?
Yeah,
cool.
from Justin did ours.
Oh, Justin bought yours, of course. So yeah,
Yeah.
Justin's a chef at your mates.
That's the
He
one.
did mention you had a crazy dog, so to be careful
We
dropping
did.
off the pack to your house.
How was he? Was he good or not?
I did go to the door and I thought he was going to break through the glass, so I went around the side.
Yeah. Well, at least you had warning.
And so Billy Bob, where are you guys from?
We're from Little Mountain in Caloundra.
From Little Mountain. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we had some good local people on. It was a real shame. We sent some packs to Melbourne and posts just horrible. We had some Melbourne and Sydney people that missed out, unfortunately. So we have recorded this so they can enjoy it later. But obviously being in lockdown, those guys are, hanging out for something to do.
Yeah.
Right. Well, mate, we're going to sign off, but thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your gin. And
Cheers.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for our next online event and hope to see you guys locally.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
pretty awesome.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. See ya.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much. Thank you.